Hi, everybody listening. My name is Matt Baxter. I'm the CEO and founder of a company called Wedge, and this is episode number 2 of the WedgeCast. I'm sitting here with Holly Ross Tong. She is an HR extraordinaire. She's been everything from a professor, HR consultant. She's been public speaking. She's an author. She's all over the place, but everywhere she goes, she leaves an amazing influence. So today, I'm excited to have her on the show. So Holly, do you just want to share a little bit about your background leading up to today, and then we'll dive into some questions?
Sure. I appreciate the intro. Thank you so much. You're very kind.
Well deserved. Well deserved.
Right? So I've been in the HR industry for too long now, but it's my passion. I love it. So I'm teaching HR to undergraduates currently, and then I'm also coaching individuals who have been outplaced or downsized,
Cool.
As well as having my own HR consulting business and helping companies, hire their best talent and advise on HR matters that sometimes need just a little extra touch than what they have in-house. So It's fascinating.
That's awesome. So you've been in the game, you're in the game, and you're also understanding of like the trends about where everything's going. So like within the last year, would you say maybe 6 months to a year and a half, like what's new that wasn't necessarily around today, just as far as like HR trends and hiring trends?
Sure. Hiring, right? When unemployment is low, companies compete for talent. Right. And when they compete for talent, the questions in the interview process changes a little bit. Yeah. So they're really wanting to get the whole person when they hire. So things like integrity, honesty, personal values start to matter. So in the past 6 months to a year, I've seen companies hire more based on integrity and values and who the core of the person is versus kind of that knowledge, skills, and abilities game that has always been part of it. That's still really important. And we can tell a lot of that from the LinkedIn, from the Wedge, from the resume. But really companies, when they sit down with you, want to know about the core of your personality. Yeah.
So you just to kind of recap that, you've noticed much more of a focus from skilled base, which are important. And you obviously want to make sure that the candidate has that, but definitely more of a heavy focus on, okay, comparing apples to apples, we might want to hire more for who somebody is and the integrity behind that versus the skill base.
That's exactly right. Right. Even today, a large employer here in Central Ohio is asking questions about what community events or projects have you been involved in the past year?
Interesting.
Right. So really wanting to understand the core of who you are from a philanthropic standpoint, as well as, core beliefs and value systems. So a lot more questions that allow folks to really show who they are and where they feel strongly.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's fascinating. So I guess with that, knowing that you're on a lot of times more the hiring side, what recommendations do you have for these job seekers saying, okay, traditionally it might have been, hey, focus on your skills, but now it might be more of a trend of like, who are you? How can you present yourself? Any number of things. So like, what advice do you have for job seekers out there?
Sure, and it's pretty simple. It's not that overwhelming, right? It's be you. Right? Yeah. Show your personality and don't be afraid of that. Frequently job seekers try to upsell their knowledge, skills, and abilities. And certainly highlighting your knowledge, skills, and abilities is important, but letting them see some more of your personality, right? So if you were a self-included band geek, right, and you want to highlight that, fabulous. If you're in a farming community and farming is part of who you are, share some of that because that can highlight your work ethic and your value system, right?
Yeah.
So companies, I think more than ever, really want to know your whole personality. So I think being you, being authentic, being humble, and talking about some of the things that you're passionate about.
That's awesome. I'm excited for job seekers to listen to you say that, because I think that like is almost inspiring to be, hey, if I'm way more just like relaxed in myself, that's actually what people are looking for versus putting on this mask of who I can pretend to be, whether it's fluffing up my resume or any number of things. So I think that's really cool, and I think that's important to hear. So
exhale and be you.
Yeah, exactly. So knowing what you know now, if you could go back, or you were to go say, you know what, I'm done being the entrepreneur you are in the HR space, but if you were to go apply for a job today, what would you maybe do differently than what you had done over the course of your career?
Yeah, I think I'd be more fully present and engaged in the conversation versus solely trying to show my work self.
Yeah.
trying to show more of my authentic self and the causes and things that I believe in and am passionate around, and letting them see me, included, right? Because that's what we bring to work every day to an organization. It's not perfect.
Sure.
It's not ideal all the time. So letting them see the full picture of, who I am and what I have to offer, and hopefully you create a match, right? The company is interviewing you, you're also interviewing them to make sure it's a place that you want to go spend 40, 50 plus hours a week.
A lot of time.
Employees become your friends, they become your work family. So, making sure that you match and have some connections is important.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess one point on that, and then we'll dive in sort of our last question, but one point on that, how do you encourage a company that's been more skilled based transitioning? Because that's a systematic approach. It's not just, hey, go hire for people, but how do you coach somebody who says, yeah, I actually want to look to hire people above and beyond just a skill set? What do you encourage them to do?
Great question, right? In interviewing, sometimes, as you know, is a poor way to really learn about people, right?
You hear a lot of interesting stories.
So I spend a lot of time trying to help organizations understand better ways to learn about their candidates before they make a job offer.
Sure.
So asking some different interview questions in addition to the behavior-based questions, which are still really important. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite questions now is, tell me about a time that you stood up for something that you believed in, even though you knew it was unpopular, right? Or wasn't going to be received well. That can tell a lot about that potential employee's character.
Sure.
There's no right or wrong answer. You're looking for that candidate to tell a story, right? And allow you to have a glimpse inside of where their values lie.
Exactly. And I think with that question too, you also see sort of a confidence level of somebody saying like, yeah, I also understand the impact that I had or didn't have. And even if they're willing to recognize one or the other, that at least showcases, hey, I'm willing to learn, or hey, I know what's right, and I'm willing to stand up and be there for that.
And I think that's what's really important to companies now, right?
Yeah, definitely.
To making sure they've got a good ethical leader or a good ethical person on their team.
Sure. No, that's awesome. Well, Holly, thank you so much for being on the show today. We are excited to share this and push this out because I think that there's a lot of information that job seekers just want to hear. And I think you actually created much more of like a comfort to people when applying for jobs that, it's stressful, but like people want to know who you are. So thank you so much for being on the show, and we're excited to keep moving forward.
Thank you so much, Matt.
Awesome.